What is up, everybody? I am Hoops and Hip Hop, and welcome back to another episode of the Pokeblock Podcast. This episode is going to be super special, I feel like. I say that all the time, I know, and then I say that every episode is special, but this one is going to be especially special because our guest is super awesome, and we're going to have a conversation about something that I love a ton, and I don't talk about it as much as I would like, and that's Pokemon music and just, I guess, like music and remixes in general. And the guest that I have on is, I mean, she doesn't even need to be introduced hardly because you guys probably already know her already. It's the one and only GlitchxCity. Thank you for coming on. How the heck are you?
Of course, thanks for having me on. I'm chilling on a Taco Tuesday. I don't know when this is going to be uploaded, but it's Tuesday right now.
Yeah. Have you had any tacos today?
Not yet. I plan on grabbing some tacos in a couple of hours and then play some Among Us for the first time.
That sounds good. That sounds way good. So I brought you on today just because, I mean, I've been following your remixes for basically as long as I've been doing the YouTube thing, and I started myself doing remixes. I don't do them as often as I would like to now, but that was like the first major thing that I was doing on my channel, and so I thought just you being the, I guess, the GOAT remixer that you are, it'd be super dope to pick your brain on how you got into it and, like, I guess your journey, if you will, to getting where you are today, and just having a good old conversation about some Pokemon music.
Yeah, sure. Pokemon journeys. I see what you did there.
Right, yeah, I've always got the wheels turning. But before we get into that, as you guys know, always got to thank the sponsors of the show that help us keep things going. So with that being said, today's episode is brought to you by the Tax Defense Group. The team of professionals at the Tax Defense Group are passionate about helping taxpayers resolve their tax debt. Their services include basic tax preparations, tax audits, resolving large tax debt, and more. They actively represent taxpayers throughout the entire USA, so if you need help resolving your tax issues, contact the Tax Defense Group. Call the Tax Defense Group today at 800-850-7973 to get started. That number again is 800-850-7973, and you can visit them online at thetaxdefensegroup.com. Today's episode is also brought to you by Writer Junkie. Are you thinking about starting a business or a side hustle? For all businesses to be successful, you need a website. Writer Junkie offers website development, content writing, and SEO services for business websites. So call Writer Junkie today at 805-587-7966, and you can visit them online at writerjunkie.com. Also be sure to check us out on our new website at ucaststudios.com. Link will be in the description. So,
bro, you got the voice for advertising.
Thank you. I've had a lot of practice, so it's more of a science now than anything else, but I appreciate that. So yeah, getting down to it. This is super interesting just because, like, we've never, like, ever had a conversation, hardly. Like, I don't know if you remember, but I met you briefly at PAX a couple years ago. But other than that, we've never really talked before. So not only am I super hyped to just talk about Pokemon music, I'm hyped to kind of like sort of get to know, like, how you got into everything, because it's just fun learning how people kind of go about their music and stuff. I like it a lot. So how long have you been doing I guess, like, music production and then, like, Pokemon remixes in general, or video game remixes?
Oh man, so music production, I guess I didn't really consider myself a producer until maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. But I've been doing this remixing thing since 2011, so 9 going on 10 years now.
Okay.
I got my music background in choir though, from middle school all the way through high school. I didn't really pursue it in college because I didn't feel like I need it per se. There was a lot of tools available for me online just to learn anything I needed to learn. Plus, I feel like the music courses in my college, they were outdated, taught by boomers. I felt like I wouldn't get any more value out of that stuff. So I just turned to YouTube. And as far as Pokemon remixes, that wasn't like my goal when I started this channel, GlitchxCity up. What I wanted to do with this channel, I wanted to be Pokemon focused on, but I didn't know how or what I wanted to do. So I went from like manga reviews to like, I don't know, a 4th gen appreciation trailer. I tried doing a let's play with like the crappy equipment that I had at the time. And there was this channel that went by Remix Studio, and I was listening to them all throughout my years in high school. And I'm like, dang, I really don't know what to do with my channel, so let's try Pokemon remixes and see how that turns out. And I liked the process behind it. This was like, 9 years ago. I didn't even have Alpha Studios. It was something called Mixcraft. And I think my first remix was literally me mashing the Heart Gold Soul Silver version of the Kanto Trainer Battle theme with the 1st gen, and then the 2nd gen, and then the 3rd gen, and I called it a remix, and I uploaded that to YouTube.
That's funny. That's super interesting, so really quick, because my way of getting into remixes was somewhat similar, but I wanted to ask you, what made you like not think of yourself as a producer till like 3 years ago, even if you've been doing this for like much longer?
I don't know, because for the longest time, people would classify me as a not YouTuber, but like a PokeTuber, or you're the Pokemon remix artist, and that's what I considered myself as for like the longest time. But I started to become more than just a Pokemon music remixer. I started doing originals. I started composing for indie games. I started doing like projects, like stuff for Discord and other projects, and literally doing everything else outside of Pokemon. And that's when I realized, holy crap, I think I'm just a music producer now with a weird niche.
Right. That's super cool. That's like basically the dream, because I was sort of the same way, where I was just doing whatever, and then Pokemon was always sort of the direction I wanted to go, and then I sort of just fell into it as a focus. My like first ever thing I ever made was I could hardly even call it like something I made, because I just like took this instrumental I found on YouTube. It was a Lord of the Rings one that someone else made, and I found this acapella of a B.O.B. song, and I was like, hey, that'd be cool to put these together. And just with no knowledge at all, I laid them on top of each other, and it somehow just so happened that they were like the right like beats per minute and everything, and I had no idea about that stuff at the time, so it just lined up perfectly for like the first few bars or whatever. I was like, holy crap, this is awesome. And from there I was just like hooked. So it was a interesting way to go about it, because I didn't have anyone to teach me either. I took some classes and stuff, but like you said, it was basically just like all
self-taught
online and figuring it out on your own. And yeah, it's interesting. So do you have like a favorite remix or a favorite track from Pokemon that just like sticks out in your mind?
Oh yeah, so the Radio Tower Takeover from Heart Gold Soul Silver, it's literally the Team Rocket encounter theme, but in Heart Gold Soul Silver and Gold and Silver, when you get to the Radio Tower in Goldenrod, it's the theme but extended, and no one's really done a remix of that, and I'm like, this theme it's pretty bomb once you listen to the entire theme, so let me make a remix of it. And funny thing is, I just got back from like a 6-week, it wasn't even a vacation, it was like a work/vacation kind of thing. I drove all the way out to LA from Texas. I actually went from Texas to New Orleans to Virginia Beach, and then Virginia Beach all the way to LA to make it in time for VidCon, Anime Expo, and E3, because they were all in the span of like roughly 4 to 5 weeks of each other. And this was probably a couple days before Pokemon Go dropped. I made it home the day before Pokemon Go dropped. I made a Pokemon Go remix, and then I made another remix for the Heart Gold Soul Silver Radio Tower Takeover, because it was in my head during the drive. And probably one of my favorite Pokemon remixes. I think I did a good job on it for something that came out back in 2016.
Right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've heard that one of yours. I can't like place it, but I'm pretty sure I've heard it. I've really been liking your lo-fi stuff, by the way. Lo-fi is like the new wave right now. So yeah. I've been liking that a lot. So I think I also remember that Pokemon Go remix too, because it was like you hit the iron right when it was hot, because it like blew up. It was super perfect timing. And that's something that I've always kind of, I guess, admired about you, is that you pretty much pick, like, something like that comes out, you pretty much are just super on top of it and like get something out right away, which is impressive.
Man, I try to be that nowadays, but I have just so many more responsibilities, it's hard to keep up.
Yeah. So what are you doing nowadays? Like, obviously there's not like a Pokemon game out right now that is going on. So what are you making music right now? Are you working on other projects? What are you doing?
So I'm always working on music. I actually just finished up a mix for the release of Undertale's 5th anniversary. So it should be going out next week.
That's dope.
Yeah. Always working on Pokemon music, trying to plan out the next mix. I got something in the works. I'm just waiting for artwork. Obviously, I still have to tackle the rest of Isle of Armor before the Crown Tundra drops. Then get ready for Pokemon Snap. So there is a timeline for Pokemon. I'm just in a position where I can space things out now.
Right.
I also do that, and I am also part of the Team Liquid community staff. So literally everything I've learned from building a community on YouTube, I'm just tossing it over to Team Liquid. So I'm helping out with things over there.
Cool. What's Team Liquid exactly?
Team Liquid is a world premiere esports organization with athletes in 17 titles now. It used to be 13, but we added like 4 more games to our roster.
Interesting.
We esports now.
Right. Yeah. So do you like the esports stuff? I've noticed you like stream, obviously, and whatnot.
Yeah, I love it. And the thing is, I knew about esports while I was in college because, there would be Smash tournaments take place on Twitch and stuff. But the thing that really caught my eye while I was in college, it was 2016 Worlds, and it was the #1 worldwide trending thing on Twitter. And the thing I saw was Faker. I'm like, who is this Faker kid? And I realized it was League of Legends. Like, oh, League of Legends. And there was a link to the World Tournament that took place in LA, and there were just so many people in the stream. It broke over 1 million views, and it was the most #1 talked about thing on Twitter for like the next 24 hours or so. And then Overwatch came out, and I really liked Overwatch, and I wanted to go semi-pro, but I didn't have the time to dedicate to it. So I was just like, above average player, but not good enough to be even a semi-pro. But yeah. Overwatch technically paved the way for me into esports. Once I moved out to LA, there was a lot more opportunities for me to invest into esports. I even lived in a gamer house for like 6 months while I was here.
That's dope. So were you just there with like a bunch of other esports people then?
So the first month I was with other content creators, and then I was brought on to Hollywood Hammers. They're called Hammers Esports now, but at the time Hollywood Hammers, and they had an Overwatch team at the time. Obviously Overwatch became franchised. That meant they had to let go a bunch of the the tier 2, tier 3, even some tier 1 teams, because it's a lot of money to invest into esports. But I witnessed like firsthand of, you know, how intense the esports atmosphere is, not just for the players, but for like the staff and then the community around it, everything that goes into making a team successful. And then at the end of 2017, obviously Hammers disbanded because they didn't disband, but that's wrong for me to say. They didn't disband, but it's just like because the Overwatch team was let go. Obviously, they had other team. They're more focused in the mobile scene now. Mobile esports is huge. I decided to leave Hammers at the time because mobile isn't my thing, but you know, I'm so chill with all the staff there. There was actually some players that end up going into the Overwatch League. Shout out to Shaz, who plays for the LA Gladiators. Was brought on to Team Liquid because of, you know, history, content creation on YouTube, and then its experience with Hammers, just helping out with the community over there, and then my knowledge of Overwatch as well. And so I'm learning a lot more about esports now that I'm in like probably the top org in the world. I'm proud to say that.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome that you sort of have like, I guess like a second branch of just content that you can get into, because it's always nice to be able to like sort of switch things up and kind of do multiple things. But getting back into like the music side of it, did you mentioned like you started with choir in high school, but did you have any like other, I guess, formal training or instruction or anything that sort of like led you into like actual producing, or was it like you mentioned you just were like looking for something to do with your channel and you were like, yo, remixes, that's it?
It was probably just something that clicked. I did have one piano lesson when I was 13. I got a really late start into music, and I went to a family reunion going from 8th grade to high school, and my aunt, she had like a 61 keyboard, and you know, that caught my eye, and I asked her if I could play it, and I was just like playing like little Pokemon root themes, trying to learn by ear and stuff. And my aunt was like, you know, you should get this girl some lessons, and my mom got me one lesson. I was supposed to go for more, but I did not like the way the teacher was teaching me. I wanted to learn my own way. In hindsight, I probably should have stuck to it, but you know, my skills are there. They could have been better, but I'm pretty content with where my skills are at. And that was probably the only formal training outside of like, you know, choir for 7 years throughout grade school.
Right. That's super interesting, because I was very much the same way. I took some guitar lessons when I was like in my teen years, but other than that, I hadn't had like any music instruction. And then I took a music class in college specifically because I had gotten into doing remixes and stuff at the time. But other than that, it was just like, just like learning on your own and just like doing it over and over again. And I think that's probably the coolest thing that I've, I guess, learned about music production, because there's so many people that I guess like are interested in it, want to get into it, and it's just like you don't need to know anything when you get into it. You'll pick it up as you go along, because it's like music is, you don't necessarily realize it when you're just listening to it, but music is very like structural. It's like it fits together a certain way, and it's like once you sort of like start to pick up on that and like figure it out, it's sort of like a click in your mind, and then you're like, whoa, I can see how this is working, and I can do it. So did
you learn anything from that one lesson or that one class?
I mean, we learned, it was like an intro class, so it was like basic theory stuff and whatnot. So I mean, I guess I did learn, but like as far as, I almost feel like the producing side of it is like a whole other thing in and of itself, because I also went to like my main major, my focus in college was audio production, and it was specifically because like I got into the whole YouTube thing like right as I was getting out of high school, so I was like, I pretty much decided after my first semester that was what I wanted to focus on for like a major. And so I got into that, and I definitely learned some like super useful stuff that I probably wouldn't have learned. It would have taken me longer to learn if I was just on my own. But as far as just like the actual, I don't know, I guess musical side of it, because the school was a lot more like technical in terms of just like mixing and stuff. But in terms of the musical side of it, it was like most of what I knew at the time and know now, like I taught myself anyway. So it's very much like super hands-on, and like it seems formal almost. Like it seems like a formal thing that you'd have to have like training for, but you really don't. It's you just have to kind of like stick with it. So
I feel that.
Yeah. So you said you were also doing indie game music. That is super dope. Tell me about that.
So some things I can't say yet.
Oh yeah, totally. Don't want to get you in trouble. But what's like the experience like of like making music for a game?
It's interesting because before one of the developers approached me, I was low-key making mixes for, you know, obviously Rejuvenation and Reborn, stuff that's already out on YouTube, stuff that's not out on YouTube yet because, you know, the games have to finish. And so luckily for those two games, I somewhat got experience, with criticism, like actor criticism, to fit a picture that they wanted. And then working with like, it was a small indie studio, but it was still like cool to compose, right? I don't even know, but to like make custom stuff that's not just Pokemon. Like it still had that Pokemon feel to it because that's how I learned how to produce. Be like, oh, let's create the Shayna battle theme. Oh, they want this cool battle theme. Let's listen to this video game soundtrack and see what they did here, and I try to implement it in the stuff that I'm creating. But it's just been a fantastic experience nonetheless. I got to grow as just a producer in general. So if I get approached more in the future to create more soundtracks, I'd be like, yeah, I got this. Plus it also allowed me to get, you know, upgraded sounds for the things that I want to do. Like I just got the cinematic studio strings, which I'm so excited to dump them into a project.
Yeah, I a lot of what I do is like, it's always sort of been like hip-hoppy, but I've also like kind of like the more chill side of that. But I always try and use the live stuff, like whether it's like strings or guitar or whatever. Like I got my first like nice piano sample a few years ago, and it was just so nice to have something that sounded real. And so I just went off and did like 5 piano things in a row just because it was super fun.
Yeah, it's like the best feeling when you get new sounds and you just can't wait to try them.
Yeah, you just go crazy. Oh, it's so much fun. So have you composed for like multiple games then, or is it just this one game that's like in the works?
So it's, let's see, 1, I guess if you count Rejuvenation and Reborn, so 2, 3, 4 going on 5. Yeah.
That's awesome. So are you the sole composer on the project?
No.
Or are you working with other people? Yeah, okay. And that's about what I was gonna get into. How is like working with other people on a soundtrack where you're both writing essentially the same thing?
So I actually haven't gotten the chance to interact with other artists because I will get like a document detailing a specific location or a specific battle scene, while like other artists will get like a different description and all that. Obviously they'll have like some common theme saying, hey, we want, you know, this sound prevalent in this soundtrack. Be like, okay, let's see if we can do something with that. But honestly, especially nowadays, since artists are working from home, you just do your own thing. Like you get your homework and you try to, you know, dish out a banger of a product.
Yeah, right. Is it like, how much more, I guess, different is it to be working off of someone else's inspiration as opposed to your own, since it's like their vision?
The only difference is that here I'll take the champion battle theme from Gold and Silver. You have a skeleton to work with. You know, any MIDI is out there, you can build up of that foundation. With a completely you know, non-existent track, you're just like, okay, what does this sound like? And I'm trying to think, because like it's a process. I can sit there and write a skeleton in about like a sub hour. I've done that before. And I get that skeleton, you know, recorded in FL Studio, and I'm like, okay, what sounds do I need to make it like this, or just try to get the arrangement done? That's usually the tough part, trying to picking out the right sounds to get the right atmosphere. Like, you have your arrangement, you know, you got your skeleton to work off on, cool, but what is it going to sound like with all the meat and the good parts, you know? That's where your creativity really shines.
Right. So is it like more orchestral type of stuff you're doing, or is it kind of like actual retro indie type of a sound?
It's a good mix of both. When it comes to like specific like environment themes, I try to go for more orchestral if, you know, the description calls for that, because I just love messing with strings. I love messing with percussion sounds. If it's more of a retro kind of feel, not gonna lie, I have gone to YouTube to look up references and tutorials on how to get that sort of tone in a piece. It's, again, it depends on, you know, what the piece is for. Right,
yeah. That's super cool. I wasn't like completely aware that you were working on that kind of stuff. So
it's like dope. It's like a low-key thing, you know, you don't really know unless you ask.
right, yeah. But that's like super, I mean, that's literally the dream, go from remixer to like actual composer person. So that's super dope. You said you've been doing that for like a few years now?
So yeah, about a few years, since 2016. Like, the stuff I'm working on now, it's a bit more lighter and less demanding than what I did back in college, because at the time they were like, hey, we want you to do like these 5 tracks. I'm like, okay, me not realizing time management was a thing in college. So now I have to be like careful of my workload, because I don't want to like overwork myself and then lose motivation for a piece and all that.
Right, yeah. That's the thing that always is with me. I know everyone's kind of different, that you like, some people can just like crank out whatever, but for me it's like I have to be in a certain like mood, and I also have to like a lot of times have a certain like if I'm doing a remix, it's got to be a certain like one that sticks out in my mind.
Yeah.
Like I did a Sword and Shield remix not too long ago that I'm hoping to put out soon, that was just like it was just in my head, just I was really feeling it during that time, and I just sat down and did it, and it was just like it came out so naturally. And that's like when that happens, it's like the best feeling in the world, because like on the other side of the coin, you could like, if you just like, I guess, want to do a remix but maybe don't necessarily have any direction you want to go, you could sit there for like hours and just like not get anything done. So it's a real, at least in my experience, it's kind of like a chore, very much a two-sided kind of experience. Yeah,
definitely,
because sometimes it comes easy, and sometimes it's just like, I got nothing.
I feel that. I actually had that experience over the Labor Day weekend. The piece I was telling you about for Undertale, I had the idea in my mind and I wanted to get it started, but the idea came at like a really weird time. It was at the time I was supposed to be winding down for the night, and so I started the skeleton, try to get some stuff done, and then I try to revisit it. I started Friday, I try to revisit it Saturday and Sunday. Did not work. However, last night cranked it out. I'm in the mastering stage now. I'm just like, damn.
Yeah, it's super crazy. So are there any Are there any like upcoming Pokemon like music specifically that you're looking at, like as far as like doing remixes of?
So one, I'm trying to just finish the arrangement for it. It's pretty much like 60% done. I just gotta figure out transition and ending. It was supposed to be uploaded next week, but again, I'm waiting on artwork to finish. So I'm like, okay, cool. I can take a step back from that. Upload it probably October. Definitely looking at Mustard's theme. Looking at Avery and what's her face, Clara. One of those is gonna be a collab. I know that much. Just trying to crank out all the Isle of Armor stuff before Crown Tundra drops.
Yeah, that makes sense. So do you go for more like battle theme type stuff, or do you prefer like town theme, route theme, that kind of thing?
Town and route themes. I will be straight up real with you. Some of the battle themes for the last like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years have not been the hottest. You know, you have your tracks that stick out. Obviously the Sword and Shield Gym Leader battle thing, that was pretty much the easiest battle theme I had to remix in quite a while, because it was just it's repetitive, but you can do so much with that repetition. When I did the Guardian Deities remix, it was something I low-key had to force out, but at the end it had its good moments. But what people don't realize, on the other end, I'm just like, I dread this remix so much. For example, Cynthia, I dread it so much. Most popular video, and I'm just like, ugh, so inexperienced. Ugh, I'm gonna have to remix it again at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very much the same way, because I'm totally more of a town theme type of person, and every time a new game comes out, it's like, hey, you should remix this battle theme, because it seems like the battle themes are more, I guess, popular in general. They get more of the attention, and I'm just like, I can't do it if I'm just not feeling it, because in terms of just like a piece of music that I just could like play and would want to just like listen to or chill to or whatever, it's, for me, it's just like so much harder to imagine a battle theme that way as opposed to a town theme. So it's just like, I guess it's just personal taste, but that's kind of, I've always had more, I wouldn't say trouble, but just like, it's harder for me to like approach a battle theme as opposed to a town theme or anything else.
Oh, don't worry, I totally feel you on that. I feel like with the like a battle theme, you're kind of locked into a certain mood. I have seen people break out of that mood. For example, Mikel, he did Pokey and Chill, and he literally made a lo-fi remix of the Train and Battle theme. I'm like, so it can be done.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing I've had on my mind lately, is just taking battle themes and trying to do more like chill versions of them.
Yeah,
it's definitely it's a
doable.
Challenge though, because like you said, it's like you're locked into a certain mood. But that's kind of I guess that's the beauty of it, is you can turn any song, any theme into basically whatever you want, because that's kind of what remixing is all about.
Yeah.
So, do you have like a favorite non-Pokemon remix that you've done?
Oh yeah, the Sonic Chemical Plant Zone 2 remix that I did. I don't know what year. I think it might have been 2017. I might have done that right before I moved. For whatever reason, it's my favorite remix of all time.
Ooh, interesting. So, Pokemon and non-Pokemon. What about it do you like so much?
Probably the use of an 8-bit sample that I use. It was actually it was a default preset in FL Studio, and I was playing around with the randomizer settings for that preset, and I got that sound, and I'm like, that sounds like something from a Game Boy. Let's use it in every single remix.
Yeah, I've done that before, where you find like a new instrument or sound you like, and you use it for like the next month.
Yep.
And then you look back on it and you're like, I totally just use that to death.
More like the next 7 years, honestly. There are still some samples I use to this day from when I first started.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's just like in my experience, I'll like totally overuse stuff. Like I was in a phase where I was starting to use like chants, like the hey, and I would just use that in everything, and I thought it was awesome when I was doing it, and now it's just like, why did I do that every time? How about we'll end with this because we're about to our time. Is there any kind of like advice that you would give to someone who wants to get into, maybe not necessarily just remixes, but like music in general, or remixes specifically? Like what kind of tips could you give to someone who's looking to do that?
Definitely seek out the information. It's available to you and it's free on the internet. YouTube is your bread and butter, and then just do it. You know, there's free trials everywhere. I'm pretty sure there's some free programs that you can use. But yeah, don't skip out on the knowledge, and you know, just do it, because once you start doing it, you'll be intimidated at first, but you'll start to build up your confidence as you go along.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. And one thing I would add on to that is don't think you have to have like a ton of like amazing, like I guess like samples or equipment or whatever, because you can get a lot out of a little bit if you know what you're doing. So it's definitely. Like you just have to jump in and do it, and eventually you'll just figure it out. But I mean, yeah, I guess that's basically all the time we got, but it was super dope having you on. It was awesome to sort of pick your brain and get to talk to you for a little bit. Awesome sauce. Thanks for having me on, man. Yeah, absolutely. I'll definitely be keeping track of all that other stuff you got going on, because I had no idea that was going on. I'll keep my eye on that. And speaking of keeping your eye on Glitch, if you're listening and you haven't followed her already, her links are going to be below. Be sure to check her out. And as far as this show goes, you guys know the drill. Every Friday, we're back at it with another episode. Be sure to follow if you haven't yet. Check out our sponsors with the links below as well. Until the next one, as always, have a good weekend, and I will smell you guys later.